To help you keep track of what your customers purchase from you, how much they owe you, and when payment is due, you can create a sales invoice. You can print the invoice and send it to your customer, or email it to them directly. To begin entering a sales invoice, you need to go to the Sales tab. Then click New Invoice. You can choose which customer to invoice by clicking the down arrow. Or you can start typing the customer's name, and Sage 1 will start to narrow down the list of customers for you to select from. If you don't have a contact record for your customer, you can create one by clicking the Add a Customer button and entering the relevant information, then clicking Save. The invoice date entered should be the date the invoice was issued, and the due date will automatically calculate based on the credit terms for that particular customer. If you have not entered specific credit terms for your customer, the due date will calculate based on the default credit days in your default settings. If required, enter a reference number. This could be a customer order number, for example. The invoice address will automatically default to the main address for the customer record. If you don't have an address in your customer record, you'll need to enter an address manually by clicking in the invoice address box and typing in the address. The delivery address is the same as the invoice address by default. If you'd like to change it, click the drop-down menu and select the address you'd like to change it to. Or Custom to manually enter an address. To record the sale of a specific product or service, in the Search for Product/Service box, type the name of the item and then choose the required item. If you haven't created any products or services, click either Create Product or Service and enter the necessary information and click Save. This will populate the fields on the next available invoice line. You can then amend this information as required. You can add multiple products or services to the invoice by repeating this step. If you're not invoicing for a product or service, then you'll need to enter the description of what you're selling, the ledger account you want to apply this sale to, and the quantity of items sold. If you're invoicing for a service, the quantity should be 1. You'll also need to enter the unit price for the sale, apply a discount if necessary, and select the VAT rate applied to the sale. The VAT amount automatically calculates based on the unit price and the VAT rate entered. The gross total is the overall total for that line. If you've created analysis types, click on the double chevrons and choose the analysis type you want to allocate this sale to. Or, if this sale is for a customer inside of the EC, select if the sale is for goods or services. If the customer is VAT registered, you must also choose which EU sales description you want to appear on the invoice. You can add more lines to your invoice by repeating these steps. If you're applying a carriage charge, enter the net amount and choose the relevant VAT rate. You can then add notes on the invoice. The Terms and Conditions box will automatically populate with the terms and conditions entered into your invoice settings. When you're happy with the invoice, you can save your invoice. If you need to save it as a draft invoice, click the Save as Draft tick box, then click Save. Alternatively, you can select Save and Send to email the invoice directly to your customer. Save and Print to print the invoice straight away, or Save and New to start creating another new invoice. You've now successfully created a sales invoice in Sage 1.